McAfee.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm okay.
That's good. Hey, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time amidst this quarantine. How's life treating you? What do you have going on today?
I'm just bored as everybody else is.
Bored as everybody else. I guess it's unavoidable right now. I've seen you being quite vocal about COVID-19 on Twitter, and you've been sort of vocal about how people have been reacting to it. I'm just curious about your thoughts on the current state of it right now.
The virus is not a problem, in my mind, and I know
Okay.
that's an unpopular view. The problem is our government's reactions to it. I read on the New York Post, the virus has caused the loss of 17 million jobs in America alone. What, did the virus fire those people? No. It was the actions of the government that did.
Right.
The problem is that the virus is being sensationalized by the mainstream media, using words like horror, staggering death count. Well, the death count is anything but staggering, people. 120,000 people have been killed by the virus in the 5 months it's been with us.
Yeah.
That's one person in every 50,000 people. Do you realize
Right.
how insignificant that is? I mean,
Compared to many other
if you
things, that's true.
well, compared to the flu kills 6 times as many. In the
Right.
same period of time, the flu's killed 600,000. We're shutting down the world. And they go, oh, well, if we didn't go into quarantine, would numbers have been in the millions? Bullshit. The death rate has been linear. This is not a geometric infection thing. Linear. It's absurd the way that we're reacting to it. Even the pathogenic bacteria killed only 1 in 10,000, and it killed 2.5 million.
Right.
The world governments never react to issues of such insignificance. I'm sorry. You go, oh, what about the families of the 120,000 deaths? Well, my heart goes out. But 60 million people a year die. People, you can't single out a minor problem and call it a major pandemic. This is artificially created by the media and by governments. The problem is not the virus. The problem is governments imposing. Like, look at the bailout plan, the $2 trillion bailout. In that plan are provisions for the FBI to be able to arrest anyone in an emergency
Hmm.
without cause, without a judge, and to detain them for as long indefinitely. Jesus, do you understand what that impact is? Plus,
Essentially martial law to a degree.
no, it's to the highest degree, my friend.
Right.
Isn't it martial law when they say you can't leave your house?
Well, it's true, and I understand what you're saying, that you're more concerned about sort of the social economical impacts. So, what's your response to people who are saying that it's different than the flu in ways because it's more infectious and it's sort of more asymptomatic? I'm curious because there is a lot of concern about that, and maybe people not knowing the numbers.
The only difference in symptoms between COVID and the flu is like the COVID-19 also has a symptom of shortness of breath. Big
Hmm.
fucking deal. And it is more infectious? If it were more infectious, why are more people dying? You go, oh, well, because of the lockdown. Utter bullshit. What about the countries that have not locked down and will not lock down? They don't have a
Right.
problem.
Such as Sweden. I mean,
In
they
fact,
are having some cases, but
it's the countries who have locked down that have the greatest death rate. Countries like Nicaragua, Sweden, countries that refuse to lock down, they've got a negligible death rate. So, please, people, can you not count? If you say, what do I say to those people? Run the numbers.
right.
It is not more infectious. It is linear. The flu is more infectious and kills more people.
So you feel like there's a lot of disinformation going around about this virus through the media specifically, is what I'm hearing.
No, it's pure. The information is correct. It's the way it's
Okay.
packaged.
Okay.
100,000 people said, "Oh my God, the world's coming to an end." Why don't they say it? Because all other infectious diseases are measured not by the number of infections, but by the death rate per 100,000 population. The flu at 600,000 deaths per year is basically 12 deaths per 100,000. Insignificant. No one would lock down a country on such a death rate, and that's 6 times greater than COVID-19. Please wake the fuck up, people. You're being deceived.
I know what you're saying, yeah, and there's a ton of different theories on it. Speaking of theories, what's your theory on moving?
Mathematics is not a theory, my friend. Mathematics, 2 plus 2
this
is
is
always
true.
4. All right, that is a utter fact that the chances of you dying from this thing, even if you go out and lick the pavement and touch everybody, is 1 in 200 million. Good fucking God.
And that's a
Please
mathematical stat.
Let's run the numbers.
That's
How many
undebatable.
people, when cases of 15 and 50 have died? Fewer than 10. In a population of 7.8 billion people, please, God, wake the fuck up, people.
Right. Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. So in terms of the economic impact of this, which industries do you think are going to suffer the most, and how do you think these industries can recover moving forward from this?
Some will never recover. The airline industry, how the fuck will the airlines recover? Because while they are shut down and have no revenue, yet they have to pay billions of dollars a month for the planes that they lease. Where they're getting that money? Travel industry is going to disappear. Service industries, local, the businesses that live hand to mouth, restaurants, local shops, 75% will die. Already we have 17 million unemployed because of our government's actions, not because of the virus. The virus didn't fire these people.
Right.
The government's actions caused them to lose their jobs.
It's like the gun didn't shoot the person did, right?
I don't think that's a proper analogy. I mean, the virus did not, in fact, fire somebody, did it?
No.
Did it shut business down? No. Viruses don't shut down businesses or countries or airlines. Stupid people do. The people we elect to lead us. So we're responsible. We're the stupid ones. We elect people who actually pay money to want to be president. Sometimes millions of dollars to get a job paying a few $100,000. Jesus, wake up, people. We elect idiots. And we then blame them when they do stupid shit like this. Except, let me tell you, the other thing about COVID, and you need to understand this, people, this is the most important thing. It is seasonal, like the flu. It's going back in October, like the flu. The flu will be gone by mid-May. So will this virus. Now, by mid-May, governments are going to open up and say, see, our lockdown did it. Bull fucking shit. They are surfing on a wave of seasonal disease. And they will claim, yes, see, we saved you. Bullshit. And thank God not every country locked down. Because when they say, see, we saved you, you're going to go, wait a minute, what about the Swedes? What about Nicaragua? What about the 100 other countries that refused to lock down? Because those are the countries with the fewest infections and the fewest deaths. So why are the countries that are locked down, why are they more people dying? They're not. Look at America. A week ago, the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, put out guidelines saying, listen, if somebody dies and they're infected with the virus, then put the cause down as the virus. Do you see how stupid that is?
Whether or not it was directly the cause.
Yes, if you died and you're infected, that's the cause. So only 2 out of 100 are dying now, and yet every one of them. So we're inflating by 50 times the death rate. And you notice that when the CDC put those guidelines out, what happened? The following day, American deaths skyrocketed. No fucking wonder.
So why do you think that is? Is it to scare people?
I don't know. Jesus, listen, I don't have a crystal ball. It's clearly Listen, who are the winners from this, by the way? The media. Because what is the value of the media? The number of eyeballs times the amount of time they spend watching. We're spending almost all of our time watching now because we can't go to work, we can't play, can't get out of the house. We're watching the fucking television. Right. So the value of mainstream media has increased by a factor of 10. So they're winners. Please, if you see the source or the cause of something, usually say who benefited from it. The mainstream media. Who is sensationalizing? The mainstream media. They call it a horror, staggering death. What, 100,000 people out of 7.8 billion is hardly staggering people. It is a minuscule. But when you hear the number, oh my God, 100,000 people and 7,000 a day dying in America, it's nothing. About 1/50th of the number of people who die in automobile accidents.
So it's just essentially a branding agenda in your mind?
I don't know. All I know is it's not real. That's all I know. Why is it being done? That's anybody's guess. I'm not a speculator. I do know what the truth is. The COVID virus is a non-issue. It is a non-threat, in spite of the fact that it's killed 100,000 people. Well, listen, pathogenic bacteria causing diarrhea killed 2.5 million in the same period of time. Why don't we lock ourselves up from the bacteria and the viruses that cause diarrhea? Please, people, wake up.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Speaking of elected officials, you have run for president. You've thrown your hat in the race on more than one occasion. But I've heard you say that you don't really want to be president. In fact, you wouldn't do it if they paid you. So I'm just curious, do you have any future prospect with that? Has that changed, or is that still your attitude?
No, I'm definitely running on the Libertarian Party like I did in 2016. I actually came in third.
So do you want to be president?
Of course not. What person in their right fucking mind wants to be president? Number one, presidents have no power at all. It's an illusion, people. What power does a president have? They are controlled. Listen, no president makes decisions and takes actions in a vacuum. They take action and make decisions based on the information that they're provided. Who provides that information? The CIA.
Right, the bigger government, right.
The CIA provides it. Now, you think that doesn't relieve the president of power? It takes all the power away. Let me give you an example. The Second Gulf War, the CIA told President Bush, listen, Iraq's got nuclear weapons and missiles capable of delivering them to our closest ally, which is London. And we fear that there might be a nuclear attack imminently. What did Bush do? Well, he bombed them into oblivion. They didn't have nuclear weapons. Everybody in the fucking world knew they had no nuclear weapons, including the American public. Who did not know it? The president and Congress, because they are briefed by the CIA. Now, what power did that president have? None. They were told, Mr. President, we're not here to advise you. No, we're just here to inform you. Bull fucking shit. We're here to control you. Presidents got no power. They haven't had power since 1960. Now, they think they do because the cleverness of the strings attached to them, which makes them a puppet, is very subtle, very powerful.
So you don't want to be a puppet.
I don't want to be a puppet.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a puppet. I just want to point out that that's what presidents are. It doesn't matter who the president is. Our system, people, is like an automobile with a frozen steering wheel. It doesn't matter who's driving it. It's going where it's going.
So you wouldn't accept if you won the nomination?
Oh, fuck no. Who would want that job? I don't like being puppet. I like being my own man, making my own decisions, making my own choices in life.
That's completely fair. Question about something coming up in the future, potentially. King of the Jungle. There's a lot of rumors about this. Are they making a movie about your life? And is it starring either Johnny Depp or Michael Keaton?
It's not a movie about my life. It's a movie about 2 weeks in my life. Okay.
Okay. Because there's a lot of ground to cover in your life.
Yeah, well, you couldn't. Yeah, but no, it's a movie about 2 weeks in my life. And that 2 weeks was a very intense 2 weeks. And it started out starring Johnny Depp. I have nothing to do with this movie, by the way. This is totally out of my control. Although I did voice a massive dissent about Johnny Depp. There's no way he could play me. He doesn't have the depth. No, I mean, I love Johnny Depp. Fuck me. But he can't play me. He seriously does not have the depth. Michael Keaton sure as fuck does. And the reporter is being played by Zac Efron. Now, the movie is about 2 weeks where Wired magazine talked me into accepting one of the reporters for a 2-week period to live with me and follow me around. I accepted it because I thought that was a great opportunity to fuck with the mainstream media in a major way, and I did. And after the 2 weeks, the reporter completely unraveled. Completely unraveled. Josh Davis was his name. He was just a puddle of unrecognizable flesh when he left, because I fucked with him in ways you can't possibly imagine. I do not like the mainstream media, and they should have known better than to send somebody. Anyway, so he went back, and after he recovered, he wrote a book called King of the Jungle. No, we called it John McAfee's Last Stand.
Okay.
Very sensationalized book. And the movie's based on that book. It's a 2-week period. End of story.
Okay. So I assume you're going to watch this movie because you said that you haven't watched the documentary about you.
I don't watch movies by myself. I know about. Why would I want? I lived through that 2 weeks. What the fuck would I want to watch a movie about it?
But you're not curious about the portrayal of yourself?
No. Why should I give a shit? Do you understand? It does not matter what people say or think. Any press is good press. I mean, if they say I ate babies, bring it on. That's going to make me enough up. Sorry.
Have you always been that way, or did that come with time? Did you care what people thought at any point?
I've never given a flying fuck what anybody thinks about me. Now, I do give a fuck about when people shoot at me, which happens frequently. I give a fuck when they jail, like Janice and I were jailed in the Dominican Republic 8 months ago.
What happened with that?
About that? I don't know. We got out of it and went underground.
So you're currently on the run now?
No, we're underground. We're not running. We were on the run from January until July, meaning we'd gone to the Bahamas. We were laying on the beach and thumbing our nose up at the government, doing videos, posting them on, saying, fuck you, right? And they're only 90 miles away. We got run out of the Bahamas, went to Cuba, got run out of Cuba, and we were going to do the same thing in the Dominican Republic, but the U.S. got there first. Now, the Bahamas said, you got to go back to America. Cuba said, you have to go back to America. The Dominican Republic arrested us and says, we're deporting you back to America. But I didn't even come from America. I came from Cuba, for fuck's sake. International law says, you got to send me back to Cuba. They said, doesn't matter. We're sending you to America. See, all this is the fucking CIA. Nobody cares. But so anyway, after they got to the usually I figured we'll stay in a place for a couple of months before they managed to dislodge us, and then we moved somewhere else, which we did. But after they got to the Dominican Republic ahead of us, and because we pulled into dock, the dock had soldiers everywhere when we pulled in. Really? They arrested us instantly, no questions asked, and said, we're sending you back to America. Anyway, so finally we got a lawyer. After 4 days, they agreed to send me to England, which is where I wanted to begin. But said, listen, send me to England. On the airplane, I said, baby, we can't run anymore. It's not possible. They're too fast. They're getting ahead of us rather than behind us. So we went underground. Now not even our family and closest friends know where we are.
Wow. And you guys don't use cell phones or anything like that?
Didn't have a cell phone. Jesus God. If we had a cell phone, we would be arrested within 30 seconds.
Because there's so much surveillance that goes on through these devices is what I hear.
All of it. 99% of all surveillance goes on through your cell phones. I'm not having one of those motherfuckers around me.
Yeah, and of course you're a huge advocate of cryptocurrency. I'm curious, moving forward for people with the way the economy's going and such, what's the best thing to invest in now? Is it crypto? Is it maybe different stocks?
I have no clue, son. Why?
No clue.
Because this shutdown is going to destroy the world economy in ways you've never dreamed. Already 17 million people in America alone out of work. The airlines are going to collapse. Service industries will collapse. Restaurants, small businesses, they're all going to collapse. We're going to have half the world out of work. The dollar is going to end up being totally worthless. It'll be hyperinflation like in Germany. In Germany, where at the start of the war, the mark was on parity with the dollar. One mark was equivalent to $1. At the end of the war, they were printing billion mark notes, and a loaf of bread cost 10 billion marks. That's what may happen to the dollar. I promise you.
And people are predicting the other way, but I don't see that as likely.
The other way what?
People are predicting that it might make the economy better, and I don't see how that makes sense at all. That doesn't make sense to me.
Let me ask you something. Okay, all living things have an economy. Some are very simple. Now, let's say we were squirrels. Now, squirrels, starting in late September, spend 18 hours a day finding nuts, seeds, and other things so they can survive the winter. 18 hours a day. What would happen if some smart squirrel said, hey, there's a virus going along, hide in your burrows until it's over. It'll only take a month. Every squirrel would die. Wouldn't have they some of them die anyway. Now we're shutting down for a month or more. A world economy. We're going to die, people. We're eating food that's been stored for years in case of a nuclear fucking war. When that's gone, what do you think is going to happen? People are going to be killing each other for a loaf of bread. It's common sense, my friend.
You see looting coming?
Far worse than looting. We're in a country with the most severe lockdown in the world. We've been in lockdown for over a month now. Already, grocery shelves are starting to deplete of basic items. Why? Nobody's producing it. When America has been locked down for a month, the same thing's going to happen there, people. Not going to be any food. And when people are starving, they will do anything to survive for themselves and their family, including shooting a neighbor if the neighbor has food. People, you want the apocalypse? This is the apocalypse, and it is man-made. This isn't caused by a fucking virus. This is caused by stupid decisions.